Hello amigos! Welcome back to the Self series where we're exploring what it really means to return back to ourselves. We're making our way home. So, I got a little question to ask you. Okay, so when was the last time you held yourself accountable without beating yourself up? I want to know. Because sometimes I think that we can confuse accountability with criticism. And this is what we're going to be exploring today. We're going to be talking about self-accountability. Do you hold yourself accountable? Do you know how to hold yourself accountable in a way that benefits you and that is healthy for you? The way that I look at accountability is taking ownership of your life. It's not about blaming yourself for everything that's happened to you. That's falling in the victim mindset, you know? It's about recognizing and acknowledging that you still have influence over what happens next. Yeah? You have the power to be able to show up in the world however you choose to, right? And to be quite honest with you, personally, I believe that self-accountability is one of the biggest forms of self-respect. Self-accountability is saying, this is my life and I still have a choice about what I do next. You know? When I talk about self-accountability, right, it's like a perception shift, right? So it's like replacing blame with ownership, right? So for example, I was telling you about that toxic relationship that I was once in many years ago. I got to a stage where I had to hold myself accountable, right? In order to be able to move forward with my life. And you know, I'm an angel. You know I am. You know what I mean? But let me tell you something. There's certain things that I will never, ever do again. There's certain things that I would never, ever say again. Because now I understand the impact that those things can have on somebody, right? And I had to learn, like I had to hold myself accountable in order to be like, right, like, no, that's not how I want to show up. And sometimes it can be a real hard pill to swallow, peeps. Do you know what I mean, amigos? Like, I'll be the first to admit it, but like I'm saying, it is one of the most biggest power moves that you will ever make, is being able to hold yourself accountable and understanding that you have the control over your life and you have the power over your life. So like last year, right, me and one of my Jimenos, Kaden, we was chatting and we was chopping up about like a few things, and he was like, like, it's your time kind of thing, you know what I mean? And I was like, bro, I don't make good decisions. Let's be real, you know what I mean? My decision making skills for a companion wasn't the best, you know what I'm saying? And he was like, but sis, it's not you. And I was like, my brother, I know, but what can I do with that? I can't do anything with that. I have to understand and I have to turn inward, right? And take accountability for my past decisions. Do you know what I'm saying? And the thing is, right, with accountability, it's like asking yourself, instead of being like, oh, there's nothing I can do about this, or why does this always happen to me? You replace that question, like you switch that question. So like, what's one thing within my control right now that I can do something about? Because this is the thing, right? We can't control everything and we're not supposed to control everything, but there are things that are within our control that we can do something about, right? And with accountability, it's really important to understand what language you're using. So just be mindful and pay attention to the language that you use. So for example, like, oh, I have to, or they made me, or I can't because, if only. And the thing with these phrases is, it's like, is this language giving me power or is it taking it away? I'll be really honest with you. Like, when you realize that you are the captain of your ship, you are in control of the trajectory of your life, You're going to start being mindful about the things that you say, the things that you speak, the people who you surround yourself with, your whole diet, everything that you consume, not just food, you know, the environments where you place yourself in, all these different types of things. You'll start being mindful of them, and then you'll start moving in accordance with your spirit, with your soul. You'll start aligning yourself, and you'll realize your life will literally change before your eyes, like literally. And also, as well, you don't have to have it all figured out. Like, who has it all figured out? You know what I mean? But I think it's really important to reflect on these things and to understand. Like, one thing that I ask myself every day, most days, because I'm not perfect, do you know what I'm saying? But most days, one thing that I do ask myself is, did my actions today reflect the person who I'm trying to become? Because if no, there's room for improvement, right? And if yes, great, lovely. Well, let's continue tomorrow, you know? You see, when you can hold yourself accountable, I'm telling you now, right? You will be able to stand in your truth and stand in your power. And can't nobody kick you off the pedestal that you have built for yourself. Do you know what I mean? Because you know yourself and you know how to hold yourself accountable. Quick example, my little sister, Amelia, she messaged me the other day. And she's like, sis, I love you. I really love you. However, we need to work on your replying skills. Like, it's not to par, you know? And you know, the thing was, right, what I did was I listened to the message, but I hadn't got back to her yet. And so, you know what she did? She followed it up. And she does this quite often, actually. And she followed it up and was like, sister, hello. And I was like, hey sis, you okay? And she's like, yeah, I'm just checking. You're alive. It's how she be, you know. She's like, I'm just checking you're alive, you know, because you don't like to reply back. And you know what, right? I found it funny. I thought, she funny, you know. But then I really had to deep it, and I was like, nah, this is my little sister trying to put a boundary in place with me. Do you know what I mean? Like, clearly, my response times for her are not within the time frame that she would like. I get it. We're all busy. Life's full. However, that's my little sister, you know, and she loves me. You know what I mean? And she's reaching out to me. So, you know what? I messaged her back. I said, you know what? So I was gonna message her back. I'm like, oh sis, I'm so sorry. You know, I've just been busy, because I have been busy. But that's what I always message her back. That's always my response to her. And like I said, I had to hold myself accountable, because I'm like, nah, this is my little sister trying to put her boundary in place with me. And actually, I need to do better, because I'm aware that this is not, she doesn't like how long it takes me to respond. So I'm going to work on responding in a more timely manner for her. You know what I mean? That's me holding myself accountable for that situation. Like, you know what? Sis, you're right. And I apologise. And my intention is never to make you feel any type of way. Do you know what I mean? But bear with your sister, because your girl's busy. Do you know what I mean? But it's something now that I'm mindful of. It's something now that I've been like, right, okay, let me hold myself accountable, because clearly that makes my sister feel some type of way. I'm not trying to make my little sister feel some type of way. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, she loves her big sis. So, yeah, it's all these little things, guys, like, I'm telling you. And also as well, like, this is what evolution's all about, right? This is what growth is all about. Like, you're not supposed to stay the same, but you're supposed to change and evolve throughout life. But if you're sitting there and you're thinking, well, no, I find it a little bit difficult to hold myself accountable, or, you know, I've never actually thought of it that way, that's okay. Like, you can make a decision today. It's like, you know what? Moving forward for the rest of this week, I'm going to try and hold myself accountable as much as possible. Because the thing is, right, when you hold yourself accountable, guys, I'm telling you, you reclaim your power. You reclaim your power. The more you get to know yourself, the more you get to understand yourself, the more you can hold yourself accountable. You reclaim your power. And also, can I just say, look at me, you know, I'm a little schmeal. But I will just say this. When you know how to hold yourself accountable and you experience things in life that aren't pleasant, or X, Y, and Z, you know, because it happens. It's what life's all about, right? Learning how to navigate, you know? Learning how to create your peace for yourself, you know? But when things happen, right, along with boundaries and compassion, and all these other aspects of self, even when things don't go the way that you intended, or things don't go the way that you may have hoped, you find more peace knowing that, you know what, I've made the best decision for me, or I've done the best thing that I can do at this time. And this is the thing with accountability, guys. When you know better, you do better. Yeah? It's like me. There's so many things I didn't know 5 years ago, 10 years ago. I wasn't aware. But now I'm aware. And now I know. So now I hold myself accountable, because now that's not how I will move forward in life. You know, I take ownership of my life and how I show up in the world. That's on me. That's not on anybody else. It doesn't matter what he said, what she said, what he did to me, what she did to me, what happened then, it doesn't matter. How did I show up? That's what matters. How do you show up in the world? How do you honor yourself? How do you be accountable for yourself? You know? Because even though my intentions are always to the good of all and to the harm of none, I'm still going to get things wrong. I'm still going to make mistakes. How else am I going to learn? But I have that accountability within. Yeah? So it's like, okay, cool. And also as well, when you're able to hold yourself accountable, you'll realise, because I'm telling you, man, it's important. The people who you surround yourself with, it's very, very, very important. It plays a huge part in your life. And one thing about me is I don't have any yes people around me. I don't have yes people around me. No, 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 no. That is detrimental. I'm sorry. I need to be held accountable, right? If I have done something, or if I have said something, or if I have shown up in a way that might not be within my best self, maybe, best believe my friends, my siblings, my dad, the people around me are gonna be like, you was dead wrong for that. You should never have did that. You shouldn't have said that. You shouldn't have did that. Why did you do that? Accountability, because it allows me to continue to be my best self. And best believe I'm exactly the same with my P. I'm not a yes woman. I'm not, do that. If I do not think that is within your best interest and you have asked me for my opinion, I'm like, girl, oh my guy. You know? Accountability. So yeah, I might have to come back to this to this topic, to be quite honest with you, because I'm not sure that I've gotten everything off my chest that I'm trying to say. And I'm so sorry if this one's like a bit more harsh, but this is big sis talking to you, okay? Like, hold yourself accountable. It's a power move. You're a king, you're a queen. Like, take ownership, reclaim it, don't give it away. Who do you think you are? And I'll be real with you, amigos. There has been times in my life where I realised that I wanted my life to change more than I was willing to change. And it just doesn't work like that. But the moment I stopped waiting for somebody else to change my life, or something else to change my life, that was the moment when my life started changing, because that was the moment when I was actually holding myself accountable. Do you know what I'm saying? Because for me, right, this is the thing, right? Like, self-accountability isn't about becoming like harder on yourself. It's about becoming more honest with yourself. You know what I mean? Like, can you speak the truth to you? Because it's you versus you, you know? Like, when you look at the mirror, in the mirror, who is staring back? You is. And every time that you're honest with yourself, you take a step further to returning back to yourself. You know what I mean? I know you know what I mean. And so if I leave you with one thing today, amigos, I want you to understand that self-accountability isn't self-punishment. It's like self-respect in action. Like I said, I might have to circle the block back round to this topic, do you know what I mean? Because I've got so much to say about it. And being able to sit with yourself and reflect and hold yourself accountable, and you know what I mean? Like, sometimes it's like, yeah man, go me, I did that. That was me, you know, I'm so proud of how I showed up, do you know what I mean? But then sometimes it's not that. Sometimes it's like, oh, I'll never do that again. I'll never show up like that again. You know, I didn't like the way that I felt when I got home after I reacted like that, or after I responded like that, you know. You know? I'll give you another, like, real life example before I let you go. But recently, at work, there's been a change in management. And, you know, there's been, like, a clash in personalities and egos, to be quite honest with you. I've been really ready to crash out. Like, my ego has been so loud. My chimp, I should be running wild, and I'm like, I have to hold myself accountable, right? Like, I can't move out of character because I know better now, so I do better, and I try to move in accordance with my soul and my integrity. However, I realised, whoa, my ego is loud AF at the moment. So, you know what, let me just wait for this to simmer down before I start moving or taking action with certain things or having certain conversations, because I'm accountable, right? I know when my ego is up here, and my chimp, she's been going mad, you know. She's like, you want to see me silverback? Okay, I'm ready, let me run the show. And I'm like, girl, I really want to let you run the show right now because people deserve to get peppered and curried, but we know better, so we're not going to do that. So you sit down and allow me to lead. Do you know what I mean? Like, my human, this is the conversation I've been having with myself, you know. And my chimp be like, are you joking? You've been trying to lead and it ain't working, is it? It's not working out too well for us. You know what I mean? Just let me roar. And I'll be like, girl, I really, really want it. She's like, stop trying to exercise me. And I'm like, no, sit down. It's not time. And you know what, right? I'm so proud of myself that I haven't reacted or responded in the way that I want to. I'll be so honest with you. I've wanted to respond in a way where I'm like, do you know who I am? Like, I'm so sorry. You see the ego? You see the ego? But I've had to hold myself accountable. Be like, no, you know how to show up in the world, and can't nobody bring me out of my character. Can't nobody get under my skin so much that they consume me so much that I act out of my character. But I know that now because I've learned that and I've developed that in myself. But 2 years ago, 5 years ago, I was a different version of me. But yeah, that's just what I wanted to talk about today, guys. Damn, it just flowed through me, you know. But yeah, self-accountability, it's a superpower. But yeah, man, challenge yourself this week, amigos, and, you know, just reflect on the language that you're using and reflect on how you show up in the world. Maybe you could ask yourself at the end of the night also, like, the question that I asked myself: did my actions today reflect the person who I'm trying to be, or who I'm trying to become? And if it's yes, give yourself a high five, you know, because we love that. And if it's a no, just know you got work to do, and tomorrow, the next day, you're going to show up differently, or you're going to try at least, because it's a process and nothing happens overnight. But the fact that you're trying, that's what matters. Just remember, accountability is an act of self-respect. You can't heal what you're unwilling to accept, and your relationship with yourself influences all the other relationships in your life. Anyways, let that sink in, let that marinate. That is it for me today. Amigos, good vibes are on the way, of course, from me to you. If you have watched this video, thank you so much, and please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. I think we're going to be talking about self-trust in the next one, or maybe self-respect. I'm still figuring out which one we're going to do, but one of the two. So catch you next week. Bye.